All right, welcome back for part two of our discussion of the curriculum comparison with triangulated analysis assignment. So we just went over the example for schema theory. So now I would have two examples already pulled out of practices, activities, or procedures, and the theoretical perspectives that I think influenced those. So I'm going to go back to my program and I can take a look again. So I'm lucky in the respect that this program not only has a scope and sequence, but then it also has one kind of for the overall program for every week, and then I have examples of how the lessons are broken down. I understand that this is a little more difficult, particularly for those folks who are doing the community college, because you don't necessarily have a commercial program. So we're going to have to kind of work on using your expertise in terms of what you already teach at the community college or what materials you have gotten from others who teach at the community college that you would like to use to evaluate. And I think I can help you with that. Um, but community college is not my expertise, but we'll make it work. People have, obviously, students have made this work in the past. So as I continue to look into my program, I see that, so now this is my weekly overview. And I start looking and I see that one of the things that we do is we have leveled readers. And so I differentiate my instruction with these leveled readers. I have more complex text for my students who are ready to move on. I have um, leveled practice, right? And online activities. So, what this says to me is that I have some lessons that are whole group, but then I have all of these books and lessons that are intended for small group instruction. And so I think to myself, I'm differentiating my instruction. It's based, or it's leveled. And if I look back, they level by their Lexile level, right? So I've done some kind of diagnosis of where my students are. I'm doing some progress monitoring. So what this says to me is the influence of whole language theory, right? So even though my program is rooted in a behaviorist philosophy, it is balanced, or it has attempts to bring balance in by also um, having bringing in practices from whole language theory. So my practice activity or procedure is small group instruction with leveled readers. And then after students engage selected passages in a whole class setting, the program provides leveled readers and lessons for working with smaller groups. So that's my description of what the activity is. I believe that this comes from whole language theory, because differentiating student work and student text in consideration of student needs and reading readiness is consistent with whole language theory and the belief in teaching to students' individual strengths and weaknesses. So that's a good example of whole language theory in practice. So I want to point out that I have so far not repeated any of the theories here, because I wanted to give you some different examples. So you will run into, repeated examples that may be derived from behaviorism, repeated examples that may be derived from whole language theory. And I'll give you um, an example here in that I have whole language theory as the underpinning for the small group instruction with the leveled readers, but if I also look back at my program, I see that there's time in the week where we have centers. So leveled workstations based on topics related to our big idea and the skills and strategies that we're working on for reading phonics. This is the writing piece. And if we remember having different learning centers also can come from whole language theory. So I could go ahead and I could give another example of whole language theory in practice in this program, even though I've already identified something else as coming from whole language. So don't feel that you can't, name a theory more than once, because you can. So if I continue to look through my program, I'm going to see all kinds of different activities that we're going to do. I've got all my differentiation again. I can't find it right now, but there's a time that my students are going into, I don't see it here, it must be on the top. So they're going to go into literature circles. So literature circles was another practice activity or procedure that I um, pulled out of this program. And so I could add literature circles to that. And I know that literature circles have has its theoretical basis or underpinnings in inquiry learning. I saw that they were. I'm going to go back to the top. Sorry. All right. So if I go here, back to the beginning, I also see that we've got these different. So let's say I was. So some of the examples I gave you were big picture. So now let's say that I'm focused on comprehension, right? So I'm going to start looking a little closer at what they're doing for comprehension. So right here, I see that they're doing um, the strategy this particular week of visualizing, right? And then they're going into how to ask and answer questions. Later on, they work on predicting. So to me, I'm saying, okay, for comprehension instruction, they're going to give some explicit instruction on visualization, asking and answer asking and answering questions, and how to make and confirm your predictions. So that says to me that this is an example of metacognitive theory in action. So I can go ahead and I can write on my template why description of the practice, and then why I believe that that practice is an example of metacognitive theory in action. I also see, and I can't find it right now, that one of the skills that they focus on is, or things they ask students to do, is make connections. If you remember, making connections is an example of Rosenblatt's theory of reading transaction in action. So as I just start to kind of analyze and pick through my program, I really do find many examples of the theories we've discussed in practice in my program. So what you need to turn in on the 11th then is this template uh, filled in with your work. All right, so for your program. So I think the easiest way for us to do this and to get feedback on it is going to be on the wiki. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you into groups based on your topic, and then on the wiki, on the top of a wiki, are well, let's see if I can open up now. There are projects, right? So I can put you into groups for, we're at week 4, right? I can put you into groups for the projects. There you go. So you'll have projects here. Right now, we don't have any, but you'll have the projects listed, and I'll list them by your topic, and you'll know which group you're in based on that topic. And I think the easiest way then for us to get feedback on this assignment is by the 11th, I'm going to have you upload this, or not upload actually, transcribe it onto a page in your wiki project, because this way what I can do um, is I can just look right at it, and I think I can just reply. So give me, yeah, so I can go, because I can go in then and I can write on your project to give you the feedback. Again, I guess we could do it in a forum, but I think it's going to be easier to have it all in the wiki. And then this way, if you're in groups together, you also have a space that you guys can communicate with each other as you do this and other pieces of the project. Um, So you'll have your kind of topic alike group. So for the community college folks, I think I'm going to put you kind of all together in a group, even though you may be looking at different areas of literacy, because I think some of the things, even though you also, let's say, maybe looking at vocabulary and somebody else who's looking at a commercial K-12 program is looking at vocabulary, I think it will be more useful to you to have a group of colleagues to help you figure out um, how you're looking at a syllabus or maybe a less commercial reading program, and that will probably be more valuable assistance to you. So, I hope that this explanation was, was helpful to you in understanding kind of what is expected or how we're doing this analysis. So again, you're not writing a narrative for what you're going to turn in at this stage. All you're going to turn in is that graphic organizer that I created, that template, which you can find right here in the resource section. So yeah, just go ahead, and if you still have questions, feel free to email and I will try to answer those as best I can. Good luck.